Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
What started out in 1975 as a small two-door coupe car has now gone on to become one of the best-selling models for BMW. And of course, this model is considered as one of the epitomes of performance all over the world by driving enthusiasts. Yes, I'm talking about the 3 Series, and now the 3 Series is in its latest generation, that is the 7th one, and it was recently launched in India. Well, we have the car with us here today, and it's time to find out that if this model is more fun or less fun to drive than its earlier version, and more importantly for the Indian consumer, how much more comfortable is this car than the older one, and how many more features do you get, and what kind of bang do you get for your buck spent. So strap on, and in the next few minutes we'll take you on for a ride with the all new 3 Series. Now, in terms of design, the new 3 Series is not like a radical makeover over the earlier version. You can see it's rather an evolutionary change in terms of design, and well, that's a good thing. That's what the 3 Series has always been if you look through the generations. Now, this version that we have with us today right now here, this is the 330i, the one with the M Sport package. So of course, it's a little different than your standard 3 Series that you would go and buy in the showroom. It's got a little more sporty bumpers, it's got a sportier set of alloy wheels, M Sport badging, but we'll stick to this variant today. And of course, if you look at the front, again, you've got these sharp headlamps, a new design for headlamps altogether. And even if you look at the front grille, the famous BMW kidney grille, well, it's got the sporty theme with it being finished in black, and of course it has this chrome outlining, which I'm sure most Indian buyers would like. Apart from that, if you move on to the side, you even take the look at the hood. Again, you've got a lot of creases going around that give the 3 Series a sense of dynamism. It gets a very kinetic design. It's full of energy, and that's precisely what you would want in a car that is touted to be a driver's car, a driving enthusiast car. So yes, it does look the part. Now, the one element at the rear that completely stands out, well, of course, it's the tail lamps. Now, these tail lamps have been designed in a way to not just look sleek and sharp, but also to accentuate the width of the design. Now, that does a great deal of good for the overall design as the car looks wider, looks more dynamic, and of course, you've got the lower part of the bumper finished in black with these twin exhaust pipes. So overall, yes, a very sharp looking and a sporty looking car the new 3 Series is in this particular variant that we are driving. I'm sure you're eager to know how the performance of this car is, but before we get there, I'll briefly take you through the interiors. Well, in terms of interiors, of course, it's an all new car, so it gets all new interiors, and for good. So basically what you see is a great improvement over the last generation 3 Series. Now, what would grab your attention first is, of course, the center console. So you get this screen here, and of course you can control it using the iDrive controller, but it is a touch screen, so you can also give it touch response, and the touch response is quite nice. It's fluid. The user interface is simple, which is a good thing because the iDrive system has become simpler over the last few years. The other big change you will notice inside the cabin is that the instrument cluster is now fully digital. So, well, it looks good, it looks jazzy. Yeah, it will go well with a lot of young buyers, but the problem is that the readouts are not easily comprehensible. It can be a bit confusing to just have a glance and get the desired information. Now, someone who has driven the older 3 Series, I've driven even the 3 Series 3 generations before this. The 3 Series was always known for having easy readouts, and that's what a driver's car should have, but that is a bit disappointing here. But nonetheless, all of the information is there, so whatever you need, the instrument is not short in terms of giving out information. Now, beyond that, well, The cabin quality, if you look at the dashboard design, it's very sporty, goes well with the theme of the car. The material quality, the softest dashboard here. The seats themselves, they are brilliant. The seats are absolutely fantastic. So when you're really pushing this car hard around corners, they will give you a lot of good side support. And of course, the cushioning here is nice. So yes, this is a car where you can be in for a long time and have fun for a long duration. Now, among all these high quality bits inside the cabin, there are a few ifs. Now, for me, these ifs, well, the first one is the gear selector knob. It just doesn't fit into the overall high quality environment inside the cabin. It looks a bit odd, it sticks out. The plastic around it also leaves some room for improvement, but apart from that, yes, of course, everything's in place. The ergonomics are fine and everything works well. Well, that's perfectly what anyone would want in a driver oriented vehicle. Now, as far as comfort is concerned, well, the new 3 Series is longer than its predecessor. So not just longer in overall length, the wheelbase is also more than what the outgoing model had, and as a result of that, you have more space inside the cabin. So for rear seat occupants, well, of course, there's more leg room, and the seats again are quite comfortable. The bench is quite nice, the cushioning is good, the backrest angle again is nice. It might not be the best place or the best seat in its segment, but yes, it is much better than the previous generation, and it can be used even as a chauffeur-driven car. One, like, maybe you can be driven by a driver probably over the week, and during the weekend, of course, you take out this car and have fun. And talking of fun, now let's get down to the performance bit. Now, the engine powering this car, well, it's the same unit that was powering the older model, but this time around it produces a little more power. So in terms of power, what you get is a slightly higher number, which is 258 horsepower opposed to 252 in the earlier model, and torque has gone significantly up to 400 Newton meters from 350 Newton meters in the previous gen model. All the power is transmitted to the rear wheel, as it should be in a 3 Series, through a smart 8-speed automatic gearbox. It's a torque converter, and it does a great job of shifting the power or transmitting the power to the rear wheels. Now, coming back to the engine, well, the engine is quite nice. It's a refined engine, so if you're just cruising along, well, you will not have any reasons to complain. But coming to the most important point, performance. Well, this engine does really sing when you gain it, and acceleration is very impressive, and even as low as about 1500 RPM, you do not feel any turbo lag. It's a twin power turbo engine, so yes, the turbocharger is again mated to the engine very efficiently. It kicks in quite early, so you don't feel any lag. You don't have to wait for power to come in one gush or in a dollop. So it's a very linear and healthy acceleration you get inside the car. The gear shifts, well, the gear shifts are very quick, and if that doesn't impress you much, you still have the paddle shifters that gives you complete manual control over the gearbox, and that really comes in handy when you're probably taking the car to the track or you're driving over mountain or hilly surfaces. So overall, yes, it is a massively fun car to drive. What makes it more fun is that it comes with customizable modes. So it comes with different driving modes. You can choose between Eco, Comfort, well, yes, Eco Pro, but that's not the reason why you would buy a 330i, right? What matters most is Sport, and that again gives you the ability to customize it further. So you can go into Sport Plus. What the Sports Plus mode does is it makes the exhaust a bit more louder, and well, if you're lucky, occasionally you'll get a bit of a pop and crackle. And well, coming back to the sound that I talked about in the Sports Plus mode, well, let's experience it. And I don't know how much of it you will be able to hear, but It revs cleanly till just under 7,000 RPM, and this is massive fun. The clean rev right up till about 6,900, 6,800 RPM. Great sound from the exhaust. Well, what else do you need in a car to have fun? Adding further to the joy of driving well is this steering wheel. Of course, it's a multi-function steering wheel, so you've got the audio and the telephone and the cruise control buttons here, but more importantly, when you're chucking this car around a corner, when you're going into a corner hard and trying to exit it again, even you're powering out of a corner, this steering, well, it gives you good feedback, so you know what's happening with the front tires, with the surface. And well, again, it's a sharp steering, so again, inputs are very nice, and it's pretty much a point and shoot affair. So where you point, the car goes. Great thing. Now coming to ride and handling, well, handling of the 3 Series, well, this is not something I can really complain about. Whatever a bit of driving we have been able to do, and wherever we've been aggressive with it, it has rewarded us with a lot of fun. Even when you put it in the Sports Plus mode, and if you, well, are brave enough to switch off the traction control, you can have a lot of fun with this car. It will allow you to let the tail slide, so you can get her tail out and of course go sideways, and that is going to be great fun, and that's precisely why you would want to buy this car. Straight line stability at high speed, well, it's really a no-brainer. A car that can go sideways, good. Well, of course it will be a stable car at high speed, so no problem there. Even if you're braking performance is quite nice. You get a decent amount of feedback from the brake pedal, and if you are doing panic braking from even speeds as high as 140, 150 kilometers per hour, the car comes to a halt very safely. There's no need to get nervous. It will inspire a lot of confidence in driving. And now down to the most important factor for a lot of Indian buyers, that's comfort, which means ride quality. Well, in terms of ride quality, the new 3 Series is significantly better than the outgoing model. So yes, the ride quality is much better, and it absorbs the potholes and all the undulations on the road much better, and filters out a lot of it. So a lot lesser of those shocks transfer inside the cabin. Now this particular variant we are driving, the 330i, comes with larger wheels. It's got 18-inch wheels, but despite that, the ride quality is good on this. Of course, if you're opting for the 320d or any of the other variant in the 320d lineup, well, of course, the ride quality is going to be even better than what I have just talked about right now. Now, having discussed all the features of the new series and areas where it has improved and what all does it offer, well, it's time to conclude. But before that, well, the most important part, prices. The BMW 3 Series now starts at a price of 41.4 lakh ex-showroom, and the version that we're driving right now is priced at 47.9 lakh. Now, for the money, well, you do get a good package, a car that pretty much excels in all areas. But who should buy this car? Who is the ideal buyer? If you are someone who loves driving and wants a car that is great fun to drive, well, there is nothing better than this in the segment today. Nothing that can even come close to it. If you're someone who wants a car that is pretty much great in terms of practicality, refinement, comfort, you want best of the features, but at times you also want to go out and have a bit of fun, or you want to go on weekend drives, again, this fits the bill to the T. At the price, well, it's good value. For some, they might argue that it's a little expensive, but I tell you what, the performance you get is pretty much the best. And in terms of performance, this is the king. So if you're getting that kind of bang for your buck, well, there's a premium that you can live with.